Okay, so here's a new one for me. This is the Excalibur, which is the second campaign's first reward vehicle, which I finally finished on my Asian account just the other day, and I picked this thing up. It's a weird little beast. You don't see it played. I'm not 100% sure why. I guess to some extent it's like what I'm finding with most TDs. They're just really hard to play these days because they've taken so much of the cover away from most maps. These sorts of mid to lower tier or even mid to higher tier TDs are so vulnerable sometimes, and this one particularly has no armour. What it does have is this weird little gun in a sponson, if you like off an old battleship or something like that. It's supposedly a very accurate gun, but you wouldn't think so from those couple of shots. But anyway, we'll keep trying. It is a strange vehicle because basically it looks a bit like an APC that's had a gun somehow fitted on the front of it after the front's been cut out. I suspect that's where its heritage is from, if this thing actually did exist. I can't hit anything. Don't worry, that will change. Yes. And it's an interesting gun. It's a 76mm gun, and it has 150 damage, which is quite high for a 76mm gun. They're usually about 135, or in some of the lower tier ones, it's down as low as about 110. So 150 is not bad, but it sort of does need that because its rate of fire is not great. You can't see that on the replay, but its overall DPM is only about 2.5, just under 2,500 DPM per minute, which is not brilliant. Some of the, you look at some of the little tier 5 and tier 6 TDs running around with 76mm guns on them, and they can fire around every 2.5 seconds, something like this. This takes about 3.5, I think, to load, maybe a little bit longer. Now in this battle, I sort of sense early on that we're in trouble over on the other flank, so I'm going to head off. Now this is a position I didn't think it would really work. I honestly thought I'd probably get spotted pretty easily and just chopped to bits, because this thing, one of the things that it doesn't have is armour. I think it's got 50mm basically all around, which is, it's okay if you're playing against tier 3s, but it's not much good against tier 6s and even against tier 5s. It's not going to hold up. And it's nice and flat and big. So now coming down here, I have come across enemy tanks in this position down here before, and found them quite hard to spot. So I thought, well, why not give it a try? And I'm just far enough back, particularly that VK right over in the right hand part of the ditch. He's not going to be able to see me anyway. I'll just pull back here, and I might also get the advantage of being double bushed with these other small bushes in front of me. So if I move across to this one here, they're not particularly thick bushes, but maybe they're a bit magical, because as we progress through this battle, we're losing heavily now. We're 3 tanks down. Had a bit of a pot shot, but that was way too late. So yeah, this thing is at tier 6. Oh, there's something there. Oh, here we go. We have to kill this guy. If we can pen him, we should be able to. There's 192, I think it is, pen on this thing. Yeah, 192. And even the standard shell's 165, so that's not bad. Probably don't really need to use as much premium as I do use here, but when you're really up against it and I'm being pushed in by several vehicles, they just can't see me though, which is good. And that was just through the one bush then, and he was relatively close. I don't think this thing's got a good camo rating. I'm just thinking that some of these guys had very poor crews. I've got quite a good crew in this. I think it's out of one of my tier 8. I think it's out of the charioteer, the crew mostly out of in this one. The advantage of these are ward slash premium tanks. Of course you can put any crew in them that you like. Here we go. Another one. Oh, just struggling to see him. I should have had a second shot in there. In fact, I should have killed him. But anyway, we get 2 into him. We might see him a little bit later on. Now it's interesting, at this point our team is 2 tanks down, but if you believe it, we're still a little bit up on HP. It's hard to know whether that's accurate or not, because it doesn't give you an accurate picture of enemy tanks, particularly that have not been in the view range of your own team. So a tank could have been blind hit by Artie or something like that, and you won't see that reflected in the scoreboard. Now, I was thinking here, and I've got a bit of support. I could try and it's a position where you're constantly thinking you're going to have to run away from, but I think as soon as I turn and run, the side of this thing is such a huge target. So I sort of made a resolution to really just stick it out no matter what and just shoot. Now, there you go, there's the enemy light tank. He's probably the biggest danger. Luckily, we kill him with a blind shot. And I'm not sure whether we rolled higher or whether he got hit from the other side at the same time, but because it was only his bum sticking out, of course he didn't spot us because his turret was too far forward behind the house. Now the other really nice little feature of this tank is, if you look at it, it's basically just a little turret on the front, and it's got a full 180-degree traverse, which means you can just sort of sit still and you still got this enormous field of fire without moving your tank, which is brilliant. And if you look, when I do move the gun, the dispersion is quite good. So this really is a true sniper, and it's got some significant advantages. It's sort of strange that you don't see it played a bit more. I guess, not many people make videos for the lower tiers anyway. Although I find these days that the lower tiers are the way to go. Here we go. Another one. That's our 4th. This guy, he's tracked, I think. Takes a while to kill anyone. Ooh. And we get another one, so we're up to 5 now. I know that Artie's over there somewhere. I can't really move forward to spot it. Oh, here we go. He's got a bit of health too. So you wait till he's behind those trees, and he can't see us, and luckily he got trapped just before he moved past the second lot of bushes, so I think that's why he couldn't see us. Those bushes, the first couple of shots were behind the first bush, and the next couple were behind the second bush. And he was just about to edge round when we killed him. Okay, now the rest of the enemy team are on the other side, so I think we better be a bit more active now. Let's go and see if we can spot. We know there's an Artie over there. We can see the shells coming across the map from that direction. He's over there somewhere. Actually, he's a bit closer than I thought. I thought he was sort of back up in that back corner, but he's a little bit too close. You know, obviously he had a lot of tanks supporting him when he first killed. Maybe he moved forward now. Oh, see, there he is. Maybe he's just come out of the trench. Maybe that's what he did. I should have tried to track him, but it didn't matter. I still have plenty of time to kill him. So there's the 6th kill, or 7th kill. So we're doing really well at the moment, and we look like we've got the game won. Still got full health, and bizarrely with 7 kills at this point of the game I haven't even been spotted. Well, that's what you want from a stealth snipey TD, but again I don't think this one is particularly stealth, and I'm not sure that I've got it really set up properly either. I'm running fairly conventional stuff on this. I've got the rammer, I've got the optics I think, and I've also got the vent. So the classic sort of setup. I'm thinking, given this thing is probably a bit weak in terms of camo, it might be worth putting a net on it, particularly if you're going to engage from back in the field. That could give you just that sort of advantage that you need not to get spotted. The other thing is I might consider putting bins on this. Now I was thinking at this stage of the battle I might cap, but I thought, oh, I only need one more to get the Radley-Walters. So if I come in this side, a bit of a pincer movement. There's only 2 left now. And they want me to cap, but here we go. He's seen us this time. Luckily he wasn't at full strength. So, and we're doing more HP than he is, and our rate of fire is at least equivalent to his, which is good. Could have done with a slightly higher roll, but in the end we safely were able to take him out, get our Radley-Walters, and of course an ace. Not a bad little tank in this sort of game, but I think you have to have very much the right map for this tank.